video's off to a great start. Hey everybody, I am so sorry that I have not been active on YouTube, like, pretty much at all for the past few months. I actually did end up recording a few videos while I was in college, but one of the videos ended up getting, like, the video was, like, corroded or something. It wouldn't let me transfer it to YouTube, and it was uploading all funky. And to be honest, I don't even remember what happened to the other one. I think I just never put it out. And then by the time I remembered, it was too late. Anyway, that was a lot of background information that really was useless. Anyways, I'm back home now. I have a little bit more free time, and I figured that I would make a video regarding one of the situations that we had while on campus. So the situation is regarding a fake service dog. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to call her Shih Tzu Girl. All in all, throughout the fall semester, I think we saw maybe like 3 either fake service dogs or badly trained service dogs. I'd like to give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they're having a bad day, or, you know, they just, whatever. Whatever's going on. But there was one dog that we had quite a few issues with, and I just kind of wanted to talk about that experience and what we went through in order to ensure our safety and make sure that none of these experiences happened again. I hope that maybe this is helpful to some of you. If you guys are dealing with something like this, you kind of know how to deal with it. This video is mainly for educational purposes. This isn't to like bash the other party that I'm going to talk about. I do not condone their actions, but I am also not trying to like bring hate upon them or whatever. I don't know any of their social medias. I do know their name, but I am not going to mention her real name, just for the sake of safety, and because, like I said, I don't want to be bashing her openly like that. So let's get started, I guess. I first saw this girl and her dog outside, kind of in a field that's right outside my dorm. There's a lot of dorms in this area because it's central campus, and there's a big field with like some basketball courts or whatever. So that's where I first saw them. It was outside, obviously, like, it's an open area. Anyone can be there. A pet can be there. It doesn't matter. That's where I first saw them. The dog seemed super chill. There were a few times when she had it off leash, but even though that was illegal in our area, the dog wasn't bothering us, so I wasn't going to like get mad over it. Like, if your dog is just minding its own business and doing whatever, it doesn't bother me. I don't care. So that's where we first saw them. And then there were a few times where we would go into the dining halls and we would see them, and Z was itching herself over there. There were a few times where we saw them in dining halls, which are service animal only areas. The dog was not necessarily out of control, but it didn't show typical service dog behavior. Like, it wasn't in a heel or really paying attention to the handler, but I wasn't going to be nitpicky about it. Some dogs tend to be a little bit poorly trained sometimes, or maybe they're just trained differently, and there's a reason for that that I don't know. And, it's not my job to police how other people are training their dogs, as long as their dog isn't, causing harm or whatever. Her dog, would pull or whatever, but it wasn't causing a disturbance. It wasn't bugging Ziva. I was like, this is fine. So I let that go. We saw them in the dining hall fairly often. There'd be like a line to get in, and they'd be behind us or whatever, and it was fine. The first time that we had a real serious issue with them was when we were actually in the cafeteria. We were walking by, and she was in line with her dog, and her dog barked at Ziva. It wasn't like super crazy. She picked up the dog and it stopped. And I was like, okay. Like, at that point, I kind of figured, I'm just gonna go around. I'm not gonna bother you. I don't want to goad the dog. I don't want to put Ziva in that situation. So we're just gonna go around and do our own thing. The dog was on a leash at that point. Later on in the evening, my friends and I got up to go in line to get dessert, and the counter where we were, there was like a little corner. And the girl comes around the corner and her dog is following her, and the dog at this point is off leash. The dog sees Ziva and starts barking and running up to her. Because of where we were situated, Ziva was between me and the counter, and the dog never made contact with her. The girl did apologize. She picked up her dog and said sorry, but I was a little bit irked, and I said if your dog can't remain under control, it needs to be leashed. If it's not a service dog, it really shouldn't be in here, because at that point it had exhibited a few signs that it probably wasn't a service dog. The girl got mad at me and said that her dog was a service dog and had just as much right to be here as Ziva did. And I was like, okay, whatever. I don't want to get in a fight over this right now. I'm just trying to get my ice cream, like, whatever. So that happened, and that was it for that night. The second time that something happened, we were in one of the, I don't even know, it was like one of the main buildings on campus. It has like food stuff and admin, and I don't know what kind of building you would call that, but it was one of the main buildings, which is also a service animal only building. And so I was in there, I was going to meet up with my friends, and so I was just in the main like hallway or whatever waiting for them to show up. A Shih Tzu girl comes with another one of her friends, and they sit down, and the dog hasn't noticed Ziva yet. But as soon as the dog noticed Ziva, it pulled at the end of the leash and started barking at her. They did try to quiet the dog, but the dog wouldn't stop barking, so I kind of moved in a way so that the dog couldn't see Ziva anymore, and then it was quiet. And it didn't bother us, so I was like, okay, whatever. So that happened, and I was kind of irked, but I was like, again, whatever. It didn't harm Ziva. It's okay. So at this point, there had been a few other instances very similar to that one, where the dog never made contact with Ziva, but we would see each other, and the dog would get agitated and pull towards Ziva and whatever. But at this point, hasn't made contact with her yet. This last incident, we were again in one of the cafeterias, and I was walking by to get in line, and the dog is on leash, but the leash is dropped, and it rushes out from underneath a table, barking and snapping, and at this point, it doesn't bite Ziva, but it does make contact with her. I pushed the dog out of the way with my foot. I was very shaken by that. I ended up needing to just, separate myself from that area. So at this point, I was pissed, because the dog had rushed up to Ziva twice, made contact with her once, and had exhibited out of control behavior numerous times. So at that point, I was like, okay, what can I do about this so I can stop running into them? Because one of these days, something's going to happen, and I don't want that to happen. I don't want Ziva to get hurt. I don't want any of that. I contacted Disability Resources to file a complaint. At this point, I did not know her name, but I gave a description of her and her dog and the areas I had seen her in, as well as where I thought she lived, because I had seen her crossing the street across from a building, so I thought she may have lived there. So I gave them what information I knew. They said they would look into it, but without a name, they weren't quite sure what they could do. So I thanked them. They said that if I could get a picture of her or her name and report back to them, then maybe they could do something more. So I said, all right, thank you for your time, and went along her way. It was probably like a week after that I saw them again in the same cafeteria. I was waiting for my food, and she walked by with her dog, and her dog let out a bark and was pulling towards Ziva. I put Ziva between me and a wall so the dog couldn't get to her. And I stopped her and I asked her name. So I got her name. She was a little bit standoffish. I think she knew why I wanted her name. But I was able to get her name, and I did get a picture of her, and I sent that to Disability Resources. They updated the complaint that they had on file, and they said that they would get into contact with her. So a few days later, someone from the office emailed me. Turns out that they were able to get in contact with her. They clarified that her dog was in fact not a service dog, and that I should let them know if I see them again in a public place. But otherwise, the situation had pretty much been taken care of. So that's what happened. The last bit of that story happened like 2 weeks before school got out, so hopefully we don't run into them or have to deal with that in spring. But that is just kind of the process that I had to go through. Luckily, the staff was super helpful and didn't just like blow it off or whatever. And I'm just really grateful that Ziva didn't get hurt during any of that. One other quick thing I want to address is sometimes people are like, well, your dog's a big dog and that dog is not. Like Shih Tzu and German Shepherd, like two very different sized animals. So then they're like, well, how can a little Shih Tzu hurt your dog? It can hurt your dog. Ziva was actually bit in the throat by a dog that was probably about the size of a bigger Shih Tzu. It wasn't a Shih Tzu, but it was probably about that size, and it did cause setbacks. I had to pay to get her retrained up to the point to where she was okay around dogs again. It can cause issues. They can still cause harm. Anyway, that's just like a small little tangent because I know that people often question that. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'm hoping I can get out some more videos soon. But yeah, thank you guys. Stay safe and see you in my next video, I guess.